Good everyone, my name's Doug Courtney. Welcome to Coffee with a Coach. This afternoon's podcast, definitely a person who has played at the highest level for Tall Blacks, played in New Zealand NBL, played in Australia as well. Comes from Avondale College, staunch Avondale College prodigy. Definitely the most talented PG, I feel, coming out of the country as well in his time. I'd like to welcome Coach Lindsay Tait. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Appreciate you, Coach. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the intro. Appreciate you.
Now, tell us about your playing career and then how you got into coaching.
Yeah, man. I was kind of born into it. My mother played. My mother played professionally in Australia. That's where I was born in Sydney. I kind of keep that on the low. My father was an England and New Zealand junior as well, so I was always around the game. I was pretty lucky there. Relocated back here when I was about 4 or 5, and just my auntie played for Air New Zealand, and she bought me back a VHS of Come Fly With Me, and I watched that when I was about 5 or 6, and that was pretty much a wrap for me. I made a decision I wanted to hoop. Again, lucky that my whanau was in and around the game, and my mother was the first one to take me to a actual basketball court, get me some avias and teach me the basic fundamentals and help grow that love. And the fire grew from there. She worked in at a youth facility, youth town in the city for 20 plus years. So again, I was in reflection, I look back at how blessed I was to kind of, as a young hooper, be born into that type of environment, which has kind of trickled into, I'm a bit of a lifer, man. I've thought about walking away from the games multiple times over my lifetime, but it always pulls me back. And now I'm kind of moving in the coaching space, which I'm really enjoying.
Because Youth Town is definitely like a mecca of basketball and hoops, and a who's who always worked out in Youth Town or played there or pick up games. Took us through that experience, because again, we've got some youth that just can't grasp the idea of just going somewhere where you just hoop.
Yeah, Youth Town was a real special place to me. It was damn near more of a home to me than my actual home. The amount of time that I spent there. Basically a facility in the middle of central Auckland that prior to the Tall Blacks achieving what they did on the national stage and the Breakers being in existence, if it wasn't during the New Zealand National League season, at least around this area, it was easily the place where you could get the best runs in. Every day it was open from early in the morning till late at evening. It was free to anybody under 18, and organically it was a space where you were mentored and you learned the game. And I like you alluded to, I actually believe it's a big part that's missing in our game now. We have a lot of team trainings, we have a lot of individual trainers, and kids have got all the gadgets, but how often are they actually going out there and bumping and getting up and down and playing 5-on-5 and learning the game within the game and the intricacies of the game? And we got beat up a little bit by the old heads, but that was part of it, So on reflection, man, it actually really hurts me that the place is gone, and I think that probably leads into some of the bigger things that we're seeing in society nowadays in regards to inactivity and giving our rangatahi somewhere positive to recreate. I'm hopeful that places like Youth Town will start popping up again and giving us a place to recreate and do something positive.
Watching you hoop, you had a toughness and a competitiveness. Did it come from environments like that?
Absolutely. I first and foremost, I give that's from my father, who was my biggest influence to this day in the game of basketball. He taught me damn near everything I knew up to a level when I kind of started pushing on my own. And he used to work me pretty hard. But right in line with that was Youth Town. I used to go in there from a very young age. I used to play against men at a very young age. Early on, I did get beat up, but kind of had the fortitude to push through, and that definitely gave me like an edge and a kind of a spirit that, for a little skinny moldy boy, I took a lot of pride in that. When I stepped between the lines, I wasn't scared of nobody. That was a space that I was willing to stand in front of any man. I still am, and that is something that is, I believe you develop it in those fires, getting a little bit uncomfortable and things of that nature. So, Youth Town molded me as a basketball player, but probably more importantly as a man. as well, and some of the things I stand for today.
That's awesome to hear because, like you said before, I think that's a lost art of just hooping, just playing against, playing with different people, playing against different people. Definitely older age groups, and physically you build a little bit of toughness, but mentally you have an edge to you that you don't want to back down, and sometimes you're getting beat up every single time, but then you come back the next time and you build a little bit of resilience.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I won't sugarcoat it, man. I know that, towards the end of my career, I was the one dishing out some of those lessons to some of our younger brothers, Shay Ely, Ty Webster. I remember them coming through in high school, and they're still boys, and you're a man. And you were around me a little bit, Doug. I went at them boys, but to this day, that's the ultimate respect for me. When I sit down and I put my feet up now as an old man and I watch these brothers running around doing what they're doing, I take mad pride in that. That I do believe that, that's part of the whakapapa is teaching the next brothers coming through how to do it. And then when I see them standing up and standing on their own too, and passing that lesson on to the next brothers, then we're starting to get something right, man. So yeah, something that hopefully organically will start to grow more in the game. We need more pickup runs, more fives, more pickup runs.
Oh, absolutely. I hear you there. But, shout out to Youthtown for having that facility too, man. Like, that was awesome back in the day. You could go up there and see some legends just hoop, which was,
Yes.
which was quite good. Now moving into the coaching space, and I want to touch a little bit too, because I've been through my own health problems and issues, and trying to overcome that. And how did that resilience that you learned playing ball help you through your own sort of obstacles and issues that you overcome with your health as well?
First of all, Doug, man, I want to acknowledge you, bro. Like, I know we've been around each other a long time, but we weren't like necessarily calling each other or anything of that nature. But to connect with you recently, and listen to what you've been through, man. Much love and respect for that, and what you're trying to do right now, and bringing us together and giving us a voice and a space to connect. For myself, and I shared it with you. I think a lot of people in the basketball community know I had thyroid cancer. It got into my lymph nodes. I found that in 2017, I think. And I went through, I had my thyroid removed. I had a whole lot of lymph nodes removed, which anyone that's been on this journey knows is a pretty serious situation. I had a couple doses of radiation. But long story short, as you alluded to in your question, basketball saved my life, helped save my life, in regards to the learnings that I had in a lifetime of the game, and the people that had coached me and mentored me and taught me various ways of dealing with difficult situations. I took all of that with me on my journey, which I did internalize a lot at the time. I didn't share it with a lot of people. I actually went for my surgery without telling my children. Like, that's how internal I kept it all. But again, from a mental standpoint, I was fully, when I was lying on that bed, I was fully confident that I was going to make it through and come back. That's how I kind of built myself up mentally and spiritually. So yeah, when I say basketball saved my life, it has on more than one occasion in regards to giving me something positive to do as a young man, but also helping put the infrastructure in place that when life throws something difficult in front of us, which it will for all of us, that I took some of those things. And I'd say the last part that I'd add to that is the brotherhood that I developed through playing basketball, which I often thought was about accolades and winning and losing. And I won't lie, I chased it just as much as anybody. It probably took that experience to really hit me that basketball is so much bigger than that. It's the relationships we develop. It's the rides on the back of the bus. It's the wrestling in the hotel rooms. It's the brother that you haven't seen for 3-4 years that turns up at your hospital bed when you don't know how you're doing, and takes the time to connect with you. So yeah, from a people aspect as well, basketball did a whole lot to help me and continues to navigate these issues.
I do appreciate you for sharing that, because I know being in that journey, and you have no control over what's going on around you sometimes, and you're fighting the demons in your head. What's happening? What's this? So those are the true moments when you find that friendship. And then through basketball, like, people are just dropping you like little messages of, how you going, bro, keep in there, all of that. And it's just like, it's fantastic. It's about those small moments. It's about the rides in the back of the bus. It's having that small chat and a little bit of banter with the boys. And those things are definitely, like, don't get me wrong, like you said, people are chasing those accolades and those championships, but it's, and it's a bit cliche. It is about the process, and that ride getting there,
It is.
it's like awesome that you've won, but it's like all those little things that you had to go through to get there, which is, when you think about it, and I've had moments lying in the hospital bed thinking about those things and go, man, that was awesome.
Yeah, again, those little messages go such a long way when you're lying on your back, Yeah, for sure.
Now, coaching, different ride, different bus ride now. You're sometimes in the front of the bus, sometimes you're driving that bus. Talk us through what you're up to at the moment, and what's going on in the coaching space for you.
Never wanted to coach when I was playing. Thought it looked terrible from, looking at these brothers losing their hair, until the game was taken from me, which happens to all of us with time. And it was actually my father that said to me long ago, when I was basically telling him I'd never coach, that it's the closest thing you'll ever get feeling wise to playing again. And I believe him. And so yeah, I'm new on the coaching journey. I'm trying to find my way, and I'm definitely learned a lot. I continue to make a lot of mistakes. I definitely made a lot early on, and with good intent, and approaching the game the same way that I played. And yeah, there's been a lot of learnings generationally, and just transitioning from a player and a point guard into a coach. I'm continuing to just try and stay open and get better and learn on this journey, because I feel like a baby almost in regards to starting from the bottom and being brand new. There's so much you have to learn as a coach, working with groups of youngsters that you don't need if you're a player.
I just want to talk about a small moment. I saw you. You were coaching. Your dad was beside you, and your son was playing. I was like, man, that's like generations. And that was like at a Hoop Nation. I think it was in Whanau, and there was like, how special are those moments there?
Oh, really special for me. Again, I kind of hold my dad on a pretty high pedestal. He's kind of a basketball lifer that's quite happily toiled away in the dark with very little recognition. The streets recognize him though. I know that much. And when he goes into any gym. So yeah, none of us are getting any younger, Doug. And to have that, my dad kind of went away from the game, like a lot of our co-matua. I think at times they give so much, they get burnt out, and it's time to move on. But I kind of, when I started doing my thing, I really started leaning on him, and I got him back in the gym. And it's really helped me. We constantly can bump things off each other. Yeah, it means a lot to me that I get to learn from him and work with him still. He's kind of helping me in at school a little bit as well. And the coaching your kids thing is very difficult, but it's a beautiful experience as well. And don't get me wrong, brother, I made a lot of mistakes. You know what I mean? But my eldest son's kind of through the fire now, and we've got a great relationship, and he's finding his own feet. And I've got 3 more of these little brothers that I've got to bring through, and I've had a lot of learnings along the way. So hopefully if that's their thing, I'll do it better. But yeah, to answer your question, bro, it's been very special for me. Being able, it doesn't go over me that I'm lucky to work in this space and do it with people that I really love and care about a lot.
Those are special moments, because I had the privilege to coach my 2 young fellas, and like you said, I made mistakes on the way as well, and trying to make sure to do the right thing at the right stage. Well, so I thought at that moment was, but thinking back onto it, I definitely could have done things a little bit better. But yeah, coaching your children, and definitely having your dad beside you would have been very special. I want to talk mentors. You know, you spoke of your dad, and he was definitely one of those people. Who else do you consider a person that you could just call up and help you through any situation?
Sound like a broken record, but one that has always been, my dad, from a life aspect and a basketball aspect. But having played professionally for almost 20 years, I do consider myself a little bit luckier than your average in regards to I've got a pretty extensive Rolodex of people that I can lean on in the coaching space. Dave Mackay has been very important to me, and Ange Parrott Hunt, mainly through the relationship that we've developed at school at Auckland Grammar. I think sometimes people see us walk into a room and we probably look like we're from totally different universes. I'm tatted up, my hat on backwards and shit, and Dave is looking slick, but we're really close, and Dave's helped me navigate a lot of things that I struggle with at times. I think we balance each other out a little bit, so yeah, Dave and Ange, I've got to give them a shout out and a lot of love in regards to basketball, but life, and yo LT, you're a little bit out of line there, or whatever it may be. They have the ability to kind of get at me on that level, which not everybody does. So that's massive.
That is massive to have those people beside you, because talking to other coaches, they do have a circle. They have their sort of basketball. They can help them navigate through X's and O's, but they also have those other people in life. If they just need a convo, they can flick them a message or call them and navigate those types of obstacles, which is pretty good, because I know at any level coaching is pretty tough, and you do have those moments where you're like, what the heck is going on here? And then I know at secondary school, because I've been in that space with youth, and navigating secondary school and school itself is pretty tough as well. So I'm glad you've got some good people around you to help navigate you through those sort of aspects of coaching. Now, like you said, you've got a Rolodex full of definitely basketball people, and you've been with and coached by some of the great minds of New Zealand basketball. What have you learnt from them? We'll talk X's and O's first, and then potentially what did you learn from a well-being space? Sort of, I know you're probably competitive as and concentrating on hoops, but did you glance over and see someone do something that was like resonated with you?
I would, in all honesty, and it's a generational thing, I think I probably learned from the lack of, if that makes sense.
It's still a learning experience though.
Right.
Yeah.
If that, like, a lot of the greats that I came up under, and they weren't balanced. They were. They weren't. And it's So I think it's the evolution. The game evolves, but obviously so does coaching. And it's gone from a very coach centered. I know in my time it was coach centered. It was. It's like this, or and that's just not how it's been proven, over time, that's not the best way to deal with groups of people. So I would say my biggest learning in that space was watching, the failures historically and trying to be better. And that's not putting shade on anybody. That's just, I think, similar to what we alluded to with parenting. We're constantly trying to do our best with good intent, and sometimes we make mistakes, and we have the ability to learn from it and grow. And as long as we're moving with the right energy, I think people can live with you making a few mistakes, as long as it's coming from the right place.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you've built a relationship with athletes, it's more than likely you can have those tough conversations, but it's coming from the right place. And I know the evolution of coaching has changed, because like you said, I've been in those situations. What the heck are you doing? This is the way to do it, and that's it. Where it's a little bit more of a collective, depending on what level it is, obviously. It's a little bit more of a collective in terms of trying to, I guess, go in the same direction, because we as coaches say you need to eat this, you need to do this, you need to do this, but sometimes we don't do it ourselves. You
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
we don't do it ourselves. Because there's George Robinson, he's working for the Brisbane Bullets, a young coach from Canterbury. He shared a bit of advice that he learned, which is called a SHED. It's an acronym. So S is sleep, H is hydrate, E is exercise, and D is diet. So as a person, let alone if you're a coach or an athlete, if you've got a good shed, you're more than going to show up and be attentive and give that best experience in a training or a game situation. So I thought that was quite good.
Absolutely, I'm with
And
that.
and if everyone can build their own shed, which is really, really good, it's going to be sturdy and they're going to be there for a long time. Dealing with obstacles in your life, tell us, because when I saw you as a young man playing to the man I see now is like relaxed and chilled, and like you have a little bit more focus, I think, and it's real, like it's deep and meaningful, those conversations, which I absolutely enjoy. How did you navigate, or what do you do to deal with stressful situations?
Wow, great question. I think a lot of a lot of what you were talking about, I could only really find it with time, with experience. Um, it's very difficult for me transitioning to coaching because um, of the way that I played. It was very confrontational, um, and it's very difficult to coach that way for extended periods without it eroding relationships and just eroding your drive. At some point, I was leaving tournaments with no voice, and it's with good intent, but it's not the type of coach that I would actually watch myself on tape on my own at night and like feel ashamed about some of the shit I was doing, body language, the way you interact with, various people. So again, and I'm far from a finished product, though. But I think experience and just being, I would say that one thing I've always tried to do is constantly be open to learning and growing and not acting like I know everything, because I do know that basketball is constantly evolving. I do know that nobody has all the answers, and I do know that all of us are stealing from each other constantly, even if we call it stealing, because really we're just borrowing different facets of the game that work for whoever we may be dealing with at that time. So yeah, experience and remaining open to knowledge and constructive criticism, the same as a player, are probably things that I'm trying to continue to incorporate and as I grow as a coach.
It's great that you talked about being open-minded, because like the level of hoops that you have seen and been involved with, and the position you played as a PG, you had to know your stuff. So, IQ wise, right up there. So to say that now with the experience that you've gained now, to be open-minded is a true representation of you as a person who is evolving, and not just saying, I understand this is how it's done because of the stuff that I've been through. So it's great to hear that, like, you as a person has evolved, but you as a coach is evolving and open to learning, and like you said before, you're open to being critiqued, which is like tough sometimes as a person, someone else
Absolutely,
telling
yeah.
you what to, and not trying to be that open-mindedness and not getting salty at the comments,
Yes,
which is
yeah,
tough, because sometimes those things hurt, and I've
yeah,
been in rooms when coaches have says, hey, you need to do this better, I thought you could do this or that, or but even as a parent, my dad, hey, what are you doing? You need to
yeah.
do this, you need to do that. So it's hard not to, because it's human nature, but it's
Hi.
fantastic to hear that you're the open-mindedness and the willingness to learn, which is always tough especially being a top level player like you were, to come back into coaching is, I think, is great to hear. It's great to hear.
Appreciate it.
What do you do outside the game? You know, so I know over the summer, because you came into their clinic, greatest tan in the room, but it was just awesome, you know. So what are you doing for you?
So yeah, man, I went through my health stuff, and you know, I kind of started to see the light on the other side of the tunnel, and I fully immersed myself at the time in coaching, trying to help some of the infrastructure that we had here in Auckland. So that was kind of my answer at the time. But I was a shell of myself as a human. In reflection now,
Yeah,
it's easy for
yeah,
me to say that. I think some people close to me were trying to tell me that, but I'm pretty hard-headed at times. Again, I'm trying to evolve and be better as a person, which hopefully will help me be better as a coach. But it was my father that he kept saying to me, Lindsay, basically what you've been talking about on this podcast. You're not looking after yourself, um, which means that you're not really the best version of yourself, which means that when you're standing between the lines, yeah, you have mana, yeah, you have knowledge, but you're not you're not Lindsay right now. These kids they need you. So yeah, I started trying to find different things to do. I started walking for a little bit, and then I started riding a bike. And yeah, recently in the last about 16 months, I've just fallen crazily in love with surfing. Um, Shout out to my piha surf whanau, the Wallace whanau. Um, but yeah, and it's been pretty deep for me. It's almost spiritual, I think. My drives out to piha, I do them on my own a lot, and I spend a lot of that time. It's mental real estate for me, you know. And often going out there, I'm a lot more clouded than after I've thrashed around for 2 hours and driving back. It was like everything that I was stressing going out is gone. I found some perspective. So yeah, again, I get in that water, man. It humbles me. It cleanses me. Um, I think learning a sport, somebody like me who's quite prideful and doesn't like to look like a goofball. I was the biggest goofball down on that beach for about 6 months there. And yeah, I could tell that there were some people up on that beach laughing at my ass getting pumped as well. But just like in hoops, man, no lie, I kept turning up damn near every day. I made a promise to myself when the season started, because I started last summer. I went every day for about 5 weeks. And then when I plugged back in, I made a promise to myself that I'd go at least 3 times a week. And I stuck to that, which I was really proud of for a whole year. In the middle of winter, I was driving out there, hood, steamer, getting pumped. And no lie, I'm still useless. You know what I mean? I can stand up. I'm still no good. But I would say the last time I left the car park, Jai, who's probably my favorite surfer out there, complimented me on my growth as a surfer, bro. And just like we spoke about,
yeah.
that shit was like Kelly Slater came over and told me I was nice or something, man. I was so happy from it, you know
Oh,
what I mean?
nice.
So little wins, bro. You know what I mean? Little wins. And I do think it's helped me as a coach, because basketball is like breathing to me. It's what I do, man, in my sleep, you know what I mean? And sometimes you forget how difficult it is, the steps it takes to get there. And it can be frustrating watch other people navigate that. So for me to kind of be humbled the way I was humbled for that first 6 months surfing, I do think it helped me in the way that I was interacting with people, and something that I'm really comfortable with. And it's something that I'm continuing to try and incorporate when I work with the youngsters.
I like it how when you're driving out to Piha, your mind is clouded with the day's events or the past days. But once you're in the water and you're doing what you're doing, and you come back and you feel better, and your mind is a lot clearer. I definitely like that space, because you're probably, like you said before, when you're in front of those youth and you're doing what you're doing, they're seeing the more authentic you, hey,
Yeah,
which is
for
awesome.
sure. I would yeah, I would say damn near every one of my players loves that I've fallen in love with surfing. Surfing for sure. It's taken a little bit of the edge off, you know, for me. Yeah, I sleep better at night.
They would definitely see the difference, eh?
I
Definitely.
believe so. I believe so. Yeah. I mean, and my pops was right. I was pretty highly strung anyway, you know.
Yes.
So if I wasn't, I went from thrashing myself for like 20 years, and I guess that's kind of how I tamed that side of me. And it wasn't until I stopped doing it, and I was still skinny. That's what was kind of tricking me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? I'm in shape. It's like you're not in
Yeah.
shape where you
Yeah.
need to be. And it was right, you know. So yeah, bro, that's me.
Man, that's definitely something like, and I love the new learnings, because then when you're trying to teach someone new learnings, you understand that, the
I
difficulty in learning something new. So
probably one of the biggest things for me. Yeah, it was twofold. It was the physical aspect, but the realization that most of the kids you're working with are you
yes.
surfing. They want to be good at surfing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, this is where we are. You know, that's where I need to find. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's probably helping you just to navigate the learning and what they need to do, and you're probably seeing it, hey, which is awesome. But you wouldn't have
Yeah.
got that if you didn't go.
I don't think so. I don't
Yeah,
think so.
yeah.
No.
I definitely enjoy that, because Judd, same as you, started surfing. His one is, he sits out the back and he sees someone catch a wave and he goes, "Man, wish I could do
I do that too. I would say the last thing I'll say about it, especially at a place like Piha, which must be respected, Tangaroa, um, is it makes me present. I'm not when I step in that water for 2 hours. There's nothing else on my like, and that's rare nowadays. You know, your phone's beeping, your kids need you for those for that hour, that 2 hours. You know, there's no social media, there's no phones, and most importantly, if you don't concentrate on that water in front of you, you could be in some serious trouble. So it's from that aspect that it's really helped me focus and be present, which all the ancient knowledge that I've been consuming, it's basically telling us that to make the most out of the time we have here, we should be present
that."
with our interactions and the way we connect with people. So I think Tangaroa is helping me with that.
That you're so right though, is staying present and being in the moment, because we are coaching youth, and everything you say and everything you do and everything you portray, they're going to pick on it. They're going to pick up on it straight away. And the more moments you can be present, the better for you and the better for them, I think. I've got 5 questions for you.
Uh,
Quick fire 5. First question: who's the best player you've coached in your young coaching career?
Whoa, the best player I've coached. I think I might be coaching some of them now, but I'm sure as heck not going to give you any of those names, bro, because some of their heads might pop potentially. The best
Potentially.
player that I've coached, I think right now it's. I mean, Anzac Rosetto was kind of part of my program early on. I had a little bit of influence on Anzac. I'm not going to act like I did a whole lot. And Will Short. I'll tell you what, though. No, actually, I'm talking about, and I love those two brothers. They've achieved a lot. But I'm gonna give you a name that probably not a lot of people know. The brother that I've got the most enjoyment out of coaching as a young brother called Connor Nan. He was a tiny little Asian point
Yep.
guard that
Yep.
he would constantly get laughed at pretty much when we walked on the court. But yeah, we're still really close to this day. That young man, he was a hell of a player, and he was a hell of a person. So he still kind of sticks with me today, and what he did for our program.
Now, just on the flip side, who's the best player you've played against?
Oh man, the best player I've played against. You're probably like
I got to play against Dirk and Giannis and Steph, so it's like them boys. Take your pick, bro. Them boys, yeah. Them NBA dudes are different.
Yeah,
And there was a gang load of guys here that are like bad, but yeah, I was lucky enough to run around against them a couple of times.
Best team you've coached against, or the team you like to coach against the most, that gives you the most chess matches?
Yeah, I don't like them at all. I fucking hated them, to be honest with you. But Lacey and them's Rosmini crew, when I first got into it, they were out the gate, bro. You know, in regards to coaching, like we've been in the gym a lot. We've seen some teams come through, but I think when I first started there, and that was with they had like Cruz, Tait. They had a couple, 2, 3 dudes that won the national team, the men's national team that were playing there, and like the depth and the style that they played with. Yeah, that was definitely something I was harping on my teams about, and I'm just proud that we've been able to bridge that gap and compete. To be honest with you, because yeah, the cupboards were bare when we first got in there, man. They were beating the brakes off everybody.
Yeah, they certainly were. They certainly were.
And you know, Matt and Sonny and them, like, hell of a coach, and he's obviously going on to, you know, do hopefully some great things down there in Tauranga as well. So, you know, much respect to those brothers.
Best team you've played against?
Best team I've played against. I mean, most people would probably choose those US international teams, but in all honesty, like it was probably like I played a Greek team in like 2008. I think that was one of the ones that knocked over the US team, and they had like Papaloukas and Diamantidis. And then we also played the Serbian team in 2010. We actually beat them in Serbia before the world champs, but they went on to make the final in 2010. They had Theodosic as their point guard.
Yes.
And yeah, bro, they taught us a basketball lesson. In all honesty, those Serbian dudes, like, they were just their on-ball stuff and their reads as a point guard was just something that I'd never really. There was another level that I didn't know about yet, bro.
But they were though. But they were. Yeah. Hey, but they were.
Absolutely, yeah. And then after the game, they'll go and smoke a pack of cigarettes outside. Like, what the hell?
Because PC talks about when, I think it was Yugoslavia,
okay.
And you guys had just finished training, and you're walking through the hotel main area, and they're all there just smoking cigars.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, these dudes are different.
Yeah. That was regular back then.
Yeah, definitely. Best team you have coached or you've had?
Man, best team I've coached or had? I don't think I've coached them yet, Doug. I don't think I've coached them yet, bro. I really enjoyed my school team last year. I would say that. And when I was doing my little ACB thing, we put together some pretty nice teams. We kind of had like youth all-star teams from Auckland, which I enjoyed because there was a lot of poly and Māori boys that people hadn't really seen yet that were flying around. So I enjoyed those as well.
Best advice you've been given as a coach?
Best advice I've been given as a coach? Whew. Man, that's a tough question. My father always has been big on, and I think it's important in having the support of those around you and not being undermined, especially as a youth coach in the space that we work in, where you're dealing with people's dreams and you're also dealing with whānau and families who acknowledge that you don't know it all and surround yourself with good people. And then it's probably 2 pieces of advice, but as corny as it sounds, I'm trying to get way better at just treating people the way that I want to be treated as a coach and as a player, and acknowledging that I used to hate it when coaches would cuss my ass out, even though I could take it. So why would I think that it would be any different for the next brother that I'm working with? And if you've played the game to a certain level, sometimes the things you say can cut even more. If you don't think about how some of these youngsters, maybe how they hold you, the esteem they hold you in. So I'm a lot more wary of that now, and I try and be more selective with my words. And probably my biggest one, Dougie, and you could circle back with me at the end of the year and tell me how I'm doing, is my body language as well. I'm really trying to get better as a coach with body language. I make myself watch tape sometimes, like I do with the kids, so that just like them, If I'm asking them to watch tape and get better, why would I be too big to do the same myself?
Absolutely. But that, again, that's the evolution of the place where coaches are today, a little bit more thoughtful in their words.
Yeah, I
And
want to be like Tony Bennett, bro, and just sit down and chill. But I gotta find some middle ground somewhere, bro. You know what I mean? Like
even Phil
Lodi's over
Jackson.
here, like karate, like he's doing his shit, and then there's like, like I'm somewhere in the middle, bro.
Yeah. Hey, don't worry. We're all in somewhere along that spectrum. Now, this is probably the toughest question. Best player to come out of Avondale College. Hey, you can put yourself in there if you want to.
Man, BJ Anthony.
Nice.
BJ Anthony. And Tyrone Davies.
Pardon?
Tyrone Davies.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I did feel he modeled his game on you too, Tyrone.
I'll take that as a compliment all day. I got a lot of love for T-Bone. Yeah, hell of a guy. And yeah, he did. I finished there in 99, 2000. He came through like the next
year or two, I think.
We grew up. My dad was really good friends with Warwick Mayo, Iceman.
Yeah.
And Tyrone and
Legend.
Zane Mayo were really good friends. So we actually did spend a lot of time around each other. And Tyrone and Benny are really close as well.
Some great products of basketball came out of that college, man. It was awesome to see that era come through.
No lie, though, it really was very blessed. The coaching, like my pops, Warwick Mayo, Benny Anthony Keong.
Yes, Anthony Keong.
There's
Anthony.
like you say those names right there. To me, it's no Ross Williams was involved with the female program. Yeah, we were blessed, man.
Now, young Lindsay Tait walks into the gym. What advice are you giving him?
I was just having this conversation, man. No lie. This is real. Right? This is a deep one. Don't walk out the gym. Real. And what do I mean by that? I have a real intimate relationship with the game. I love hoops, like deep. And that's what I mean. I know how hard it is. So really what I mean by that is if you're going to do it, if you want to be a hooper, especially nowadays, you better be all in, young fella. I had 8, 9 surgeries on my body from playing basketball. And I didn't make the NBA. You know what I mean? So yeah, sometimes I do say that and people kind of double take. But what I really mean by that is if you're going to do this, if you want to be a basketball player on a certain level, then you better be about that life. You better be ready for the sacrifices that are in front of you. It's not all glitter and gold and pats on the back, and there's a lot of rehab and losing and dealing with people's opinions and things of that nature. So much respect to all the brothers that are out there hooping and doing it on that level, and coaches as well.
And again, you talk about that being about their life. Shout out to Thomas Abercrombie retiring, like the amount of trainings that would have been under your belt to be about their life.
You gotta live in the gym. It's funny that a lot of people comment on my color because it's actually my natural color, bro. No lie. But I was always had a gym tan from just constantly living inside in the gym. But acknowledgement to Tom as well, man. Like what a servant to the game. Have a hell of a career, man, and hopefully this ain't the end of it. They got a big game tonight, man. So much respect to Tom and the Breakers, and I wish them well for the remainder of their journey.
I thank you, LT, for dropping knowledge. I enjoy your evolution. I'm definitely going to hold you on that body language when I see you at those tourneys. But keep doing what you're doing, please, because without people like you in our community, especially in the Auckland area, because I know a lot of PI and Polynesian boys love hoops, and they need someone to navigate and guide them through their own journey in the basketball world. So I appreciate your time. And good luck for the season and upcoming season. But please take care of yourself. Look after yourself. Because if you don't look after yourself, you can't look after anybody else. Kilda.
I appreciate you, Doug, man. Thank you for the time today. I'm going to see you at the courts, bro. And likewise, brother. I know we share me. Look after yourself, man. And I appreciate you creating the space for us coaches, giving us something to toe-talk with each other and support each other and grow. So appreciate you, man.